Welcome back to a new episode of You Don't Know Jack, Season 5, Episode 13. How's it going, Matt?
Good. Sorry for the pause here to all our podcast listeners.
Our loyal fans.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Listen, we took a little bit of a hiatus. Summer came and is going, and it's almost over.
I know. It is. It's like, this is like, we're at the end of July.
End of July. Next week is August.
I know. But,
don't remind me.
But no, logistics, and I've relocated part of the time.
Yeah.
And,
logistics. I'm,
you're
busy.
Doing the work, the people's work, which is never done.
No. Yeah, and I am enjoying it, so hopefully that continues.
And we've both been enjoying summer.
We have, and we've been seeing a lot of each other, which is nice. We just haven't been
podcasting.
Yeah, we've been hanging out, but without microphones.
Exactly.
So you're welcome. We're back, guys. This is episode 13, lucky number 13.
So right out of the block.
Yes, we have to
shout out, listener. Former guest, Nate Price, longtime listener, longtime participant,
Absolutely.
Nate Price. Happy 45th birthday.
Happy birthday, buddy.
It's the Michael Jordan comeback or Danny Tartable, whichever one you prefer.
Love,
But so the Danny Tartable / Michael Jordan comeback number birthday.
Yeah, I wished him happy birthday, and I said, "Are you doing anything special?" And he's like, "I just want to hang out on my back porch, drink a couple of beers, and relax." I said, "Well, I hope you get that in States."
No, he doesn't get to.
He doesn't get to?
Nah, he's not.
Oh, well.
He's
never?
Family commitments.
Oh, well.
He's excited about it.
One can dream, right?
So shout out to Nate. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Nate. So last we left off, we were talking about NBA playoffs, and just a spoiler alert for everyone, Oklahoma City won. But it was a hard-fought final. It was really great. I enjoyed it.
Halliburton didn't get hurt. Maybe it looks a little different.
It does, yeah. And now he's rehabbing.
But, Oklahoma City looks like they could be built to win a couple.
I think so, yeah. I mean, as long as that lineup stays the same and they all, again, stay healthy.
They gave out some big paper to guys. They
did.
locked some guys up.
They did. So it was interesting. So let's talk about Halliburton briefly. I mean, he had a great run in the playoffs, and he ended up, his Achilles. He had an Achilles injury. He had a calf injury, which we all know is
the
code
harbinger.
It's code for Achilles.
Yes.
So I was listening to this very interesting podcast about the rise in specific injuries that usually plague older people.
Yeah, the Achilles is always 40s. Historically been the injury that reminds middle-aged men you're too old to do whatever you're doing.
It's a reality check.
Yeah, if you were running or playing racquetball or whatever, like, hey, bud, those days are over for you. Like, it is that. It's that reality injury that middle-aged men tend to get. And these guys, I mean, not just Halliburton, it was obviously Jason Tatum. We had, those two both went down with it.
And I also, that, and then also in baseball, Tommy John surgery happening super early in kids' careers and stuff. And anatomically, it's not an anomaly, right? So you're just sitting here going like, these people aren't predisposed to having this issue genetically, blah, blah, blah. So you have to look at the numbers of all these injuries, and you're saying, what is going on with youth travel, sport context, and like, okay, these kids are really performing at a higher level, and then they get to the pros and they've only been doing this. And what is going on there? And what they found, interestingly enough, is that when we were growing up, you were usually a 3-sport athlete.
Right.
And because you were a 3-sport athlete, you were varied in your movements.
And you used kind of the muscles, tendons, different
muscles and tendons different way, which actually gave you a more well-rounded experience. Now you are doing the same thing over and over and over again. You are stressing those muscles and not building maybe supportive muscles as well. And so you're missing out on that. And so now
these guys they're playing on the hardwood 12 months a year as opposed to playing 4 months of basketball, 4 months of baseball, 4 months of football, soccer.
Right, exactly. Yep. And so
interesting.
They're saying that because of that, the injury, you're getting these chronic injuries that you only see in older athletes. And to that, I say, it's great, everything in moderation, right? So you want your kid to be a multi-sport kid, because then you can have the ability to have a well-rounded physical attribute. So, I mean, were you a 3-sport guy?
I did play 3 sports.
Yeah.
Yes, I played football, basketball, and baseball. Yeah,
Good
up until 9th grade.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was a 2-sport person, but swimming was one of those. So, I did swimming and basketball, which I thought was good.
When I was a kid, growing up and playing youth sports, you literally went from one sport to the next, right? I mean, football ended, we'd have like a week or two off. We go to church, like basketball,
and then
basketball would over, like a week or two later, you go into baseball, and then just
and
rinse, wash, and repeat.
I think that most high school players that I went to school with, they were 3-sport athletes because it's just like you just rolled right into the next thing. So, but it's interesting because kids earlier and earlier getting pulled to do just baseball or pulled just to do soccer, and they're finding, and they did one outlier, which I think is an outlier because this research has been out for a long time about women and ACL tears. ACL tears are very prevalent in women. Doesn't matter across the board, even if you are a 3-sport athlete, because women tend to hyperextend their knees slightly more than men. And so if you plant and hyperextend over and over again.
Had a knee tear, both of them. One year, 2 years later, lacrosse, and I think one was in lacrosse, one was in soccer, but both non-contact injuries.
Yes. So it's one of those things where they're like, there's a lot more ACL injuries in women. And I'm like, I think that's where the outlier of the research is. So, all of it is good, I think, until you get to that one point, because that's been in literature for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. And where you don't see... It's always funny, like you don't see a lot of ACL injuries in men's professional basketball, right?
No.
We have seen a lot of the Achilles lately. You tend to see the ACLs in football, but a lot of times you'll have the non-contact where the running back just goes to cut, pulls up lame, and he's done.
100%.
But a lot of times you also get the ACL because their leg is planted and they get hit, So but you don't. You see less non-contact ACL tears with men than you see with women.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that being said, Halliburton's injury, this rabbit hole we went down, Halliburton's injury is one of those things that piqued my interest because I was like, oh, this is interesting. And this is the second injury of this magnitude in professional, and Kobe Bryant.
Right. But Kobe, Kobe was almost middle-aged when he did it.
And I get it, but it was sort of like.
You saw, but Tatum and Halliburton, young guys.
That's what I'm saying.
To both get it bang, bang, and two of your marquee stars to get it.
And also, I would just like to point out that the team knew, and so did he, that there was a high probability he was going to blow his Achilles. Yeah,
Dame Lillard also recovering. Damian Lillard, who's a little older than those guys. But
but still,
still a guy in his early 30s,
Exactly. So that just being said, if you've got a kid that is just doing one sport, make sure that they're changing it up a little bit for longevity.
I don't think there's anything wrong with changing up sports.
I think it teaches you different skills. Your brain works in a different way, and it's just
variety is the spice of life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, since we're in the NBA, let's just switch to the W real quick. It's in full swing this season. Actually, they just had
their All-Star break.
Their All-Star
Kaitlyn Clark not able to play.
She's not playing.
Groin injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also like a slight hamstring injury. So, I mean, they're all kind of very close together.
Parcel.
Yeah, absolutely. So she doesn't have a return date to the court yet. Ticket sales were really high for her games. She's still going to the games. She's on the bench, she's not like not there.
Right.
But the ticket sales didn't decline. People weren't like trying to get rid of them. People are still going to the games, which I think is really good.
Their ticket sales are really high.
Mm-hmm.
Their
they moved
viewership
stadiums,
definitely high.
Mm-hmm.
And they just signed a new TV deal.
They did. And Paige Bruckers is doing really good. Paige Buckets down in Dallas for her first season. She had been riddled with injuries with UConn, and we know that.
Right.
Again, ACL and not...
She bred a fracture,
and
I think.
A fracture. She had a tibial plateau fracture.
Yes.
But so she's doing really, really well, and the crowds are coming out in droves to support. And we've got Angel Reese, who's been controversial throughout her tenure in the W. This is going into her second year. She's doing really well. She's doubles. Going to set the record most likely in the league for that, but also at the same time might get suspended because she has a lot of technical fouls. I don't.
She might set the record for technical fouls in a season.
Correct, and also be suspended for it.
Yeah, just like the men's game, you get so many technical fouls. It's a mandatory suspension.
Exactly. So, I love the zest and zeal for playing hard under the basket. I am all for that. I don't like the idea that, you got to tighten it up a little bit, and you've got to play clean because
it's Draymond Green.
Yeah.
I mean, Draymond Green's a fantastic basketball player, probably going to go to the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
But man, when you cannot keep control, you don't do your team any good with 2 technical fouls injected from the game.
You don't. And I think
and I know she needs that edge, but there's a limit.
There's there's a limit, and I don't know. I think Adam Silver is really good about pulling players and saying, all right, look, what's up?
Right.
Because there's something going on here, and really, really focusing on that. I don't know if the W's head is doing that.
Well, the W's, there's been a lot of criticisms levied by players and fans about officiating.
I agree.
So I think the W's officiating is definitely under scrutiny.
I will say this, after watching the officiating and how atrocious it was in Kaitlyn Clark when she was playing at the beginning of the season, there was a retaliatory situation where you don't get the call that that was supposed to happen. Then it's like a lot of early NBA, you know, where they're just like pulling hair and fist fighting under the baskets, which is whatever. But the refs should be doing a better job about dispersing and making sure that calls are being called appropriately.
Yeah. I think if you set that tone and tenor, you're less likely to lose control of the game.
And
we've seen them lose control a couple times.
Yes, where security had to come on because the refs are unable to stop infighting, and we're just like, come on, man! Like, this is I know it's early days, like, of attention and stuff, but you need to call the game harder than you are.
Well, here's what we would say. I don't think anybody thinks that NFL officiating is less, the quality in the NFL officiating is worse than college football. We think the NFL's the elite officials. Whether you like them or not, I think we all say they're officiating the best football games. Mm-hmm. I think we'd say the same about Major League Baseball.
Yep.
They're better than the minors, better than the college baseball.
Yeah.
I think we'd say the same with men's basketball. The NBA officials are elite. Mm-hmm. I think we would say there's probably better officiating in women's college basketball than there is in the WNBA. It probably deals with comp. It probably deals with, availability. But I think if you want that league to take the next step, it's not just the comp of the players, which is obviously very
that's a top
very
of
much
mind.
an issue right now. Mm-hmm. But it's comp about the whole project, the product.
If I was in charge for a day, I think what I would probably do is go to the NBA, because those officials are not working right now, and say, like, hey, I want you to rotate in, and I want to make sure that our officials are up to speed. Right. And, like, an FYI, there should be a network of officials. I don't know if this exists or not, but, like, these are the issues we're having. What are the solutions that you used to combat this or whatever? Because that information is out there. I just don't know how proactive the W is about getting on top of this, because
the NBA officials would get control of the WNBA games right away.
100%.
Those guys would call it tight. They would get control of that game,
and that's what I mean. I think
until
they settle down.
Those women learn to play within the rules. Within, again, do they? No sport famously swallows a whistle like the NHL in the third period in playoff games. But look, they're still going to call egregious stuff. Like, you can't whack someone in the head with a high stick. Yeah, they might let you get away with a little bit of a hook, a little bit of a slash.
Right.
But they're going to, and again, the officials in the NBA do a very good job of not being the story. And the WNBA officials are the story in this instance, not because they're calling everything, because they're not calling enough. They're not controlling the game, and then the game deteriorates because tempers flare, and a player sits there and say, well, my teammate just got hammered there. I'm going to hammer someone
under the basket.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then they call it on them, and they call a flagrant, and they're like, what the hell? How is that a flagrant? And the other wasn't even a common foul.
And I think that this all goes back to Angel Reese's story, where we're like, oh, she's got so many technicals, and you're just sitting here going, like, well, is that all based on her, or is it based on poor officiating? And I think it's a combination of both, to be quite honest. And
I think my point is, she's got to adapt in her second year to the quality of that officiating, and not take yourself out of the game by getting technical foul. Because when that team, Chicago's a better basketball team,
and they've lost
when she's on the court than when she's not.
And I think that when she does when she has a frustrating moment, she takes herself completely out of the whole team's aspect of a sport where it's not just you, it's about your entire team. And as soon as she's off the floor, it's a detriment to her, to the Chicago team. And I think, and that's the team she was drafted to. So if she decides to move to another team, that's going to be a very big thing if she can't get this under control about being like, okay, this happened. I got to leave it at that end of the court and go down and do the best job I can. I think it is a level of just maturity, being in the league only for your second year and kind of figuring out, and the officials hopefully getting a better head on their shoulders. So they did have a record-breaking
the
viewership is $2.2 million for their All-Star game.
So I don't think it's a hot take, but my take is Brianna Stewart MVP.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
The best team. What a good team.
They're a great team.
And she's such a good basketball player.
All right, let's
kind of a complete player.
Yeah, totally. Let's switch to something that's a little bit more somber. Your O's.
Oh, man, it's Jesus. What a disaster. What a straight up dumpster fire.
The AL Beast is now Toronto's leading this, which everybody knows who has been listening to the podcast for any timeline at all. Well, no, they're not our favorite.
Listen, they'll collapse. So I think I know it was the weekend of the All-Star game. Orioles had cut their record to 7 under 500. 2 games left with the Marlins. You could have gone into the All-Star break 5 under.
Yeah.
They lose them both, go in 9 under, then proceed to lose the first 3 against Cleveland, and then they won today. They're back to 11 under. But look, it's going to be – now listen, the Orioles are going to do – they're going to sell off parts, but all the parts they're selling off, they're expiring contracts. They're not going to get huge talent in return. But, you start looking at the injuries and everything the Orioles had going on, and the Orioles, look, not just with orange-tinted glasses, do not be surprised if the Orioles aren't right in the mix for the AL East next year. You look at the talent they have on their roster, 1 through 8.
Listen, I think they've got potential.
Yeah, and you start saying, okay, Bradish will be back from an injury. Rogers, who looks like a great trade now. I call him Cy Rogers. A lot of people call him that, Cy Rogers. You have DK, Dean Kramer. I call him the Hebrew Hammer.
Oh,
okay,
good. That's good. It's a great movie.
I like
Have
that.
you ever seen it?
Yeah.
So there's a movie called The Hebrew Hammer.
Yes. I think of Hank Greenberg was the Hebrew Hammer.
Of course.
Obviously 58 home runs, maybe gets to 60 or 61 if he's not Jewish. No, seriously, some of the pitches he got or didn't get in like the 30s and for whatever he ran, it was like 39.
Yeah.
There was literally some questions. There was some anti-Semitism that may have kept Hank Greenberg from eclipsing Babe Ruth very early on. But no, so you have those 3 guys. I think you have the makings of a good rotation. If you get Rodriguez back, Orioles still have premium prospects that they could look to move to get that true number 1 to number 2 starter. Because if Bradish is back, Bradish is a 1A to 2 starter. He's shown that. I mean, the guy's finished 4th in the Cy Young the year before last. The Orioles can be back really fast. Okay, I mean, Jackson Holliday leads the team in home runs. I think Henderson has struggled. He's coming off an injury. Rushman, I don't know what the hell's going on with him. I think Westberg's been injured on and off, but you start getting those guys back healthy. Get Kowser back, obviously been fighting injuries some this year too. They have a core team that can win a lot of baseball games next year.
You know what I think? How about this?
The terrible year, they could be, by the way, Tony Mazzolino will not be the manager. They will go. They're going to go out and get.
They're going to do something else.
Get another manager. Maybe don't be surprised. Ryan Flaherty, former Oriole. He was a Rule 5 draft pick. Married to Nick Markakis' sister. Is the bench coach for the Cubs.
Nice.
So ties to the Orioles. Don't be surprised if it's. I would not be surprised. If
I think that's a good bet. I will say this about the O's. It's heartbreaking but I will say, the fans still show up. Yeah. They're still there. Whereas in years past, as soon as the team is gone, the stadium is empty. And I think that shows a lot of faith in the new ownership. And I think that is also the fans were reignited over the past 3 years. And I think because of that, they've built, more loyalty and not, because there hasn't been such a long stretch of
understand
sucking.
3 straight years over 500.
Yep.
2 years ago they won 101 baseball games. Last year they won 91 baseball
games.
Yeah,
I know.
It's a good baseball team.
It's a great baseball team.
Again,
they're fun to watch.
The injuries have been appalling.
Mm-hmm.
Look, injuries are part of the sport, but the Orioles have really had a ton of injuries.
And they have injuries in spades.
Yeah.
And you got your Baptista's back on the IL.
It was back on the IL. You know, the Mountain was just kind of rounding into form. He's back on the IL.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Kitteridge, one of their setup high leverage guys, started on the IL with knee surgery.
Yep.
Moncastle's been gone for 2 months with a hamstring. Your boy, that meathead Tyler O'Neill.
You can have him. He's yours now.
Batting a crisp 184.
He's yours.
Fighting whatever head case. But yeah, so
you didn't do enough push-ups.
Do I think the Orioles? Yeah, by dumpster fire of a year. But I don't think this isn't. There's no rebuild. There's not going to be a tear down. These guys, the core is young.
No, I think it's good. What I'm saying is, like, in years past, if you've had a bad season because you haven't had the 3 previous really great seasons, and you had the Angelos family, which nobody really enjoyed. I'm just saying, like, I think there's, even in the worst of cases, the O's fans are still showing up, and they still are there, which I think is great. When in years past, they probably would have been like, I can't handle this. My Sox, they're doing all right.
Well, I mean, hey, they went in the All-Star break, couldn't have come at a worse time.
Right.
The Red Sox,
we were on a streak.
10 straight.
10 straight. We were feeling really good.
Yeah, and since the break, they've lost 2 or 3. Yeah. But look, I think the Red Sox are right in the mix.
They could pull it out.
I think the Red Sox, I think they will make a move or 2 here at the break. I'm not sure they're going to be huge moves, but I think you'll see them be active.
Well, the trade deadline.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sorry, not the trade deadline. I think you'll see them make a move or 2.
Yeah.
I think Toronto will buckle because Toronto
they always choke in the end.
So I don't think that's the best team in the Beast.
It isn't. I think honestly, last year and the year before it was pretty set pretty much for the whole season, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah. And nobody's played great baseball in the AL East.
No.
I mean, there's not been look, I mean, obviously 2 years ago, the Orioles won 101 games. You're a really good baseball team and you win 101 games. Last year, the Orioles won 91 and the Yankees won by, 4, 5, 6 games. I mean, they're 96, 97 wins.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see 90 some odd. I don't think you're going to see upper 90s in wins out of the AL East this year. So yeah, I mean, I think it's, I think every team in the East.
I think it's not so much there's a series of flaws this year. Yeah, I think it's more of a gentle purr.
Yeah, and I think they have some flaws. Like you can look at those teams and say, like, yeah, they're a piece or 2 away. Do I think someone's winning? Look, anything can happen. You get into the playoffs, but I don't see the AL East coughing up the. I don't know that you're gonna have someone from the AL East win the pennant. I think Detroit's gonna be really hard to beat.
Yeah.
I think Houston is where people are kind of sleeping on. Houston's very good. I think those 2. I'm not sure in which order would be my favorite to win the American League pennant. And then in the the National League, I mean, look, the Dodgers, you're gonna see them make moves because they got to get their bullpen's got to get better.
Yeah.
They have the talent and they have the prospects and the money to. You're gonna see them bolster their bullpen. San Diego's always active in the trade deadline and, is right in the mix. Giants have played decent baseball.
Phillies.
The Phillies, I think, are a pretty solid team. Don't be surprised if you see the Phillies either add Cedric Mullins or Lariano from the Orioles to get some outfield help.
They're also looking at a Red Sox player, and Tim keeps sending me these things. He's like, your Phillies are interested in your boy. And I'm like, listen, you back off, all right? Just chill out.
I think you could see the Phillies make a move like that. They need some help in the outfield.
Yeah.
I mean, the Mets are right there.
They are. I mean,
kind of waiting for the Mets to implode. They don't feel like a complete team.
No.
They do have some, fantastic offensive pieces. There's no doubt about it. I
think this is my favorite time of year for baseball because it's like almost a reset where you get the All-Star break and then it's sort of like the trade deadlines.
It's like a sprint. It's going to be like a 50-game sprint
exactly
to the finish.
It's sort of like this slow burn in the beginning, and then it's All-Star, and then it's boom right to the playoffs.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've always pointed out a lot. Not that I'm the only person that points that out. Is wins in April count just the same as wins in August.
Yes, you said that all.
I did last year. You
yeah.
gotta bank wins, and that's why the Orioles won 91 games. They struggled in the second half, but they'd won so many games in the first half. That's how you get in the playoffs. Some
breathing room.
Yeah, and you have that room for error. So
it's better to go out strong, I think, and finish strong, and have like a kind of weird midsection than it is to not even get off the blocks.
And that weird midsection is called the dog days. And we are in the dog days of baseball. This is the dog days of baseball.
I mean, we have a baseball game on every night.
Yeah, but those guys are grinding. They're just off the break. They all appreciated that break.
Yes, they did.
They don't get at all, obviously, unless you're injured. But it's tough, man. They're playing in stadiums. It's hot. It's tough.
We're in a heat
I understand you're
baby.
paying them. I understand it's not about their comp or anything like that.
It doesn't
it's
matter.
just that grind every day, that wear and tear without those days off.
It gets to everybody.
Those guys, arms hurt, bod joints hurt. And so it'll be interesting to see, until proven otherwise, I don't see someone's going to have to prove to me, maybe not in the World Series, but I really want to see a team showed me that they're going to beat the Dodgers. I'm suspicious, and I just think the Dodgers are going to do what they have to do at the All-Star break. They have so much money.
Yep. So speaking of joints hurting and things, we should talk about tennis. Wimbledon, we had Jannik Sinner, who was the first Italian ever in the history of Wimbledon to win, and then Iga Swiatek.
Close enough.
They won. Congratulations. The real story is Venus Williams. She's coming back. She won her first match back and at 45 years old. Down
here at Rock Creek Tennis Club out here at DC. So she did come back. First time in singles in year and a half, 2 years?
Year and a half, yeah. She was inactive maybe 3 weeks ago, and now she's active. And she plays today.
Yeah, she won her first doubles match. Did lose doubles yesterday. 45 in women's tennis age, that's like 650.
This is just the first time since Martina Navratilova.
Yeah. So I loved it for her.
I did too. And honestly, she said what I thought was interesting is she realized that she was on Cobra Insurance, and she was like, I got to get myself back into shape and get into, fighting shape for insurance. Yeah. Which I thought was interesting.
You know what no one else we lose sight of? Venus Williams is a fantastic tennis player.
She is.
And the only reason she probably doesn't get her just due is she's Serena's sister.
Well, also, I would say this, like if Serena wanted to, she could probably come back.
Yeah, but I'm saying Serena, so Venus won, I think, 7 majors. How many did she come in second to her sister?
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like,
I'm just saying.
1, 2, 1, 2. And somebody said, could you imagine thinking, okay, both Williams sisters are retired, so I have actual shot, and then she shows up and beats you? And
but I'm just saying, man. But I just love it. It's like that she's out there. She's doing it because she wants to do it.
Yeah. I love it. And she still loves it.
You know what it made me think of? Made me think of Jimbo coming back. By the way, when Jimmy Connors came back at the U.S. Open, he was like 39. But they acted like he was 600.
I know. They're like, he's
setting
his walker down.
It's one of the greatest runs in tennis we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Jimmy Connors, that brash, blue collar kind of guy, man. The New York crowd, him just like it was pumping it up.
Yeah.
I mean,
the crowd,
early 90s. They just love Jimbo.
Well, and I think the crowd totally made a difference.
Yeah. Oh, and he fed off of it. It's one of those iconic events in sports for a guy who didn't win. But listen, nobody remembers who won that U.S. Open, but we all remember Jimbo.
Jimbo.
I mean,
it's great. Speaking of old men, Aaron Rodgers is now a Steeler. Training camps are in full swing.
Yeah.
And there's typical injuries. I mean, the quarterback for the Jets today went out with a toe injury.
Yeah, Justin Fields. They said not serious.
No, but it's still
a guy from Miami was flown off the field.
Yeah, he was. I saw that.
But they did say all extremities moving. So
what's going on in Miami? They got to get together. Also, the NFL is in talks to acquire 10% stake in ESPN. That was on the ticker. I don't know if it happened or not, but that was on the ticker when I was looking at the stuff today. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Who knows?
I think look, it's. I mean, the NFL. Did you see like the Packers' money? Because the Packers give us a view of what the revenue looks like in the NFL because it's a public company.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, I think it was like the TV revenues were like $460 million. That was their share. We know that means it was 1/32 of what, because they share TV.
It's just an insane situation.
Yeah, and it's like two-thirds of the revenue. So that means that NFL team made, $600-700 million. They have, probably paid $250-300 million in salaries, $100 million in other stuff. There's a lot of profit. Now, they pointed out, hey, in the last 5 years, they put $600 million into the stadium.
Yeah.
I get that, but it's just like the numbers start to become unfathomable.
They're otherworldly.
Yeah.
Yeah. F1, my favorite. Your favorite too?
I watched the movie. I saw Brad Pitt, talk about an old guy. He was like the Jimbo of F1.
Well, that movie was produced and by the one and only Sir Lewis Hamilton. So there you go. F1 update. It's a big one. Christian Horner, who is the team principal.
Out at Red Bull.
There you go.
Out. I saw that. Ousted.
Yeah, out.
He's married to a Spice Girl.
He's married to Ginger Spice. So Christian Horner is out as the team principal for Red Bull over a year of controversy after the alleged misconduct,
inappropriate
sexual misconduct
messages that weren't ultimately substantiated, but there's just some weird stuff.
They did their own investigation, blah blah blah. But the team is just, and also I will say this, that happened last year. They did not win the Constructors' Cup last year. They won the Drivers' Cup, but they did not win the Constructors' Cup. Same thing's happening this year, so it's not surprising. Christian Horner has been with Red Bull for over 20 years. So Red Bull basically said, hey, we've decided to go in a different direction with leadership. And thank you very much. And don't let your door hit you on the ass on the way out. Max Verstappen, they were really concerned, made a statement, says the change in principle has no effect on his career with Red Bull, even though there's some pretty strong rumors that he's looking to make a move to Mercedes with the team principal over there, Toto Wolff. Toto. Yeah. So listen, I will say this. If I was Max, who was a really great driver.
Not Max the Bird. Max
Verstappen the driver. If I was Max Verstappen and I had a really great car, which he does, and he's number 3 right now, back behind McLaren. McLaren's like in the lead for constructors with the 2 drivers, 1 and 2, and he's number 3. So the car's fine probably. What's happening is his teammate Tsunoda is like low in the field. It's not really helping. You know what I mean? Right. He's not holding it down.
It is a team sport.
It is a team sport. You have to score points, and he's just not. And he's a loose cannon, that one. He's way down in the pole. I think they had a young driver in that position, in that seat, and he got a little New Zealand driver. He got a little squirrely on the course a couple of times. He did like maybe two F1 races at the beginning of last season, and they got nervous and they pulled him. I think they should have left him. He was young enough to take risks, and I think as the sport, I don't know what the F1 movie did, but like in the sport, if the older you get, the less likely you are to take risks, which is, I just think, human nature in general. It's kind of a story of life, right? Yeah. Human nature in general, but sometimes the drivers will take a break and then come back.
Right.
But this guy was young and taking some major risks, but I don't think they wanted to do that with the car, and they didn't think they were going to get points, and they pulled him, and I think that was a mistake. But, it is what it is. I'll be interested to see what happens at Red Bull. But this is a huge shift.
Yeah,
in
this
F1. This is a huge shift in F1. You've got Toto Wolff for years on the top, always nipping at the heels, Christian Horner. So, that dynamic is interesting. It'll be interesting if he decides to go to another team as another team principal.
I mean, right. Are there other opportunities for him? Does he take a break?
Always.
Does he? Yeah. I mean, and obviously Red Bull's been a very powerful team, and he's been very good for Red Bull. Yeah. I mean, overall,
I can't say I'm surprised. He's a kind of a polarizing guy. Can be.
Yeah. And I mean, he's, and obviously, as you said, Max Verstappen, I'm not an F1 guy. I know his name. I know his name, and I know Lewis Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
But he is a household name for the non F1 fans.
Correct.
And so clearly, I mean, I think the team is going to need to keep him in place and keep him happy.
Yes, of course.
I mean, for their brand, because you've lost your
team principal,
the head engineer, whatever the heck you guys call him.
Yeah.
And but if he's gone and then you sort of lose Verstappen, then do you kind of go into, where to purgatory? What's next? I mean,
I think you just take. If I were Christian Horner, I probably would take a break and kind of reevaluate and see what what pops up. F1 is a very insular community. There's only so many people that know how to do that job and do it well and have a proven track record. So he has to consider, do I leave on top roughly, have a bad couple of years, but whatever, but in general, have a very good career, do something else, consult, whatever.
Or does he go?
Does he
go to a lesser team where he can probably bring a lot of money, a lot of sponsorship with him?
Sure.
A lot of capital and try to build a different team from the ground up.
Essentially. But there's only a few teams I think he would ever consider doing that for, and I don't think that I don't necessarily know if he's left a good taste in their mouth. Let's just say that. So we've had some losses. Three very
iconic figures of our childhood.
Yes, and I will say this. In rapid succession.
Yes.
I believe 1, 2, and 3.
Within a week.
I think within like 3 days.
Yeah, job and life flies.
So the first one was very shocking and was an accidental drowning of Malcolm Jamal Warner.
A tragedy.
It's a tragedy. In Costa Rica.
Yeah. Best known as Theo Huxtable.
Yes, and
appeared in every episode of the Cosby Show.
Yeah, and I think that, just like. I grew up with him.
Yeah, if you came up in the 80s, you watched the Cosby Show. It was Thursday nights. Everybody watched the Cosby Show. Bill Cosby, despite his shortcomings, which are
many,
plentiful.
But we digress.
Yeah, but no, he was, in that sense, what I always thought the iconic thing was about the Cosby Show is it made Black America's family, and that was
it's a huge shift.
If you were alive now, you don't, and you're coming of age now, you don't get that. It was a Black family that was the nuclear family that that was America's family.
Here's what I think is interesting. So the household that I grew up in was very diverse, had a very diverse upbringing, as you know. So when I saw the Cosby family, it took that was not out of the realm of possibility that the mom is a lawyer, the dad is a doctor.
Right.
And they just happen to be Black, right? And it's sort of like, oh, okay, great. But the kids having the same problems. It just was like whatever. It didn't even occur to me that this was a huge shift in the cosmos and cultural events. But what I will say is Theo had a learning disability. Yeah. Theo
was based off Bill Cosby's son.
Right.
Yeah. Who I think it was son that was tragically killed.
Yes.
Yes. Who was murdered, I think, in a carjacking, I think. Or something like
he was changing a tire or something. Yeah. So I think that, I remember the whole scene with the Monopoly money, right? There's all of these,
I think about his sisters making him the shirt, the designer shirt.
Yeah.
Remember, it was,
it just was you celebrated milestones in the show events, and then you also could see yourself in the characters and the poor decisions that they made, and then also the parenting style that then your parents would be like, okay.
Yeah.
So that was a huge hit.
Yes.
And then the next day, Ozzy Osbourne.
The Prince of Darkness.
The Prince of Darkness, he died at 76.
Obviously, former front man for Sabbath.
Yeah, Black Sabbath.
Ozzy just did his last show a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he had Parkinson's, but I still think, by all accounts, Ozzy's death was a shock.
Mm-hmm.
No one thought death was imminent by any stretch for Ozzy.
No, and I think that anybody that watched clips or tuned into the show in Birmingham, the farewell show, there was a lot of people who performed.
Yeah.
And they got to spend time with him, and there's clips of him interacting with people, and he's not slurring his speech, and he's with it, and he's very engaged. And I think that for those people who were there and had those interactions, how amazing is that for their last memory to be that? And then also for him, and it's just incredible that he was just done. And he was just like, hey, I did my thing, and I'm going to peace out.
I still can't wrap my head around that Ozzy was too out of control for Black Sabbath and was thrown out of Black Sabbath. What? And
Dude.
Think about it's wow.
There was a story that he told that he did so much acid when he was recording one of the albums with Black Sabbath that he thought he was having a conversation with a horse, and the horse told him to F off. And he was like, oh my God, I get it. I'm out of control. Yeah. Like even like at that moment,
Ozzy.
Yeah, he was out of control.
All I can think about is Wayne's World.
Yeah,
Ozzy won't go on unless he has a snifter full of 1,000 brown M&Ms.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that's what I think about. Like, and he played a great show.
Well, and I will just point out
Ozzy's but listen, Ozzy Osbourne definitely pushed the envelope.
Yeah.
His
great songwriting.
Yeah, I mean, really, Sabbath was a force.
Well, even
in the late 70s and the 80s, that's a powerhouse band.
I mean, if you think about like War Pigs, right? And you think about where they came from, the north of England, which is a very industrial place in Birmingham, and they really that sounds like that place, so I've been told. And then you've got his first album, The Blizzard of Oz, which is like has Crazy Train and like all these like really amazing, and Randy Rhoads on guitar.
Yeah.
And so you're just sitting here going like, oh, this is so great. And I hadn't listened to that album in a really long time, and Tim and I listened to it obviously the night we found out he passed away. But the point is like the music itself is so melodic and beautiful, and the lyrics are really good, which is sometimes you don't get.
No.
And that's very, very rare. And I think that people forget that Ozzy Osbourne is a super accomplished musician. And they think of him some people only know him as like the reality TV star.
Dad. Yeah, as a reality
TV dad, or does like really funny adverts, or his wife Sharon says crazy things on television. Right. I think there's so many like different multifaceted things after his touring career.
And you've also heard like, about Elton John's talking about he had a unique sound, and he helped change music. And
absolutely.
These guys, Ozzy's he's an iconic rock star.
I agree. I mean, he bit the head off a bat and snorted a line of ants.
Yeah.
I mean, rock stars aren't doing that these days.
Right. No, but I mean, Ozzy.
He got kicked out of the Alamo too, right?
Right. Yeah. Ozzy was in a lot of ways, a quintessential rock star. Mm-hmm. So, Ozzy making it to 76, a lot of miles on those tires.
Pretty good.
As somebody said, those things are bald. Okay, Ozzy burned it at both ends for a long time.
He did, and but again,
also seems by a lot of points the last 20 plus odd years of his life kind of committed family guy.
Very much so. And then today, Hulk Hogan, 71, he died of a heart attack.
A myocardial infarction.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk Hogan, a huge chunk of my childhood, I can remember him partnering with Mr. T to wrestle in WrestleMania 1 against Roddy Piper and Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Muhammad Ali was the referee. Somehow, someway, frickin' Liberace played a role in that.
As he would.
It was like...
wrestling is kind of gay.
Yeah, but then Hulk Hogan, as they called it, the body slam heard around the world. Mm-hmm. 2 years later, Super Bowl III, 92,000 people in Pontiac Silverdome to see it. Then he wrestled Andre the Giant like 3 months later. Yep. 33 million people tuned in on NBC to watch it.
I think that people don't realize, they look at Hulk Hogan, again, very similar to Ozzy Osbourne, in the fact that he had this like ridiculous wrestling career and fame for that, and then had a reality TV show, and then kind of it went downhill after.
Ozzy didn't go down. Hulk Hogan had a dumpster fire.
That's what I mean. For him, he's sort of like if you only knew
the racial slurs, the sex tapes. It's a bad. So it took some. Ozzy's just Ozzy.
Well, what I'm saying is people don't realize how the talent first.
Yes.
And then
the showmanship.
The showmanship first, and then necessarily the reality star situation.
Like, listen, I'm not going to take anything away that Hulk Hogan was a heck of an athlete. Mm-hmm. Okay, he had to be very athletic. And by the way, those guys weren't. You saw them once a week.
Yellow and red popular. How do you do that?
Those guys were wrestling. You saw them on TV like once a week.
Yeah.
Understand, they're on the show road. Those guys are wrestling 6-7 days a week for 250, 300 days a year. A lot of wear and tear. But yeah, Hulk Hogan was definitely, and then he did in wrestling parlances, the greatest heel turn of all time, where he went bad. He went, and it fit right in with kind of the alternative culture of America. The think about the music of the 90s, right? You know,
no, I mean, he like dyed his beard black.
Yeah, he went from
black.
coming out to "I'm a real American" to to Jimi Hendrix. You know,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming out. Voodoo Child. You know, I mean, it's like that's a heel turn, and to be able to pull that off as a entertainer.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I think he was able to reinvent himself throughout his career. Yeah. So when we were sitting here reflecting before we turned the mics on, I was like, man, our childhood took a major hit this past week, just of people like seminal characters in your life that just sort of are always there. Or I just think it was interesting. Hulk Hogan was always in the background, and remember the Stretch Armstrong, Stretch guys,
the Hulk Hogan,
So I'm just like it just permeated our childhoods in a way that was like, even if you weren't totally into wrestling, like you knew who Hulk Hogan was, you knew.
And listen, when I think of great entries into a ring, I mean, Hulk Hogan's right at the top.
Well, rips his shirt off,
but just that, I am a real man.
Yeah.
Playing. Yeah. So for him, you got Mike Tyson coming in with a towel on. Okay. Those are, in some order, they're 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Listen, for me, number one intro all time, Rocky IV, Living in America, Apollo Creed. Listen, that's game over. Yeah, I mean, James Brown bringing him in.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's super good.
Feel good. Yeah, I mean, seriously, greatest entry of all time, bar none. You're
Hands
never
down.
going to top it. But Hulk Hogan and Mike Tyson right there on 2 to 3.
2, 3. Yeah, I just unfortunately, obviously later in his life, we didn't see eye to eye on his socio-political views, and I think that.
I will respect his right to have his political views.
Correct.
I don't necessarily respect the right of you to, be spewing racial
No,
slurs.
of course not. Of course not.
But he, in the Republican National Convention, he, tore off his shirt and had a Trump fan shirt on. I didn't love it, but hey,
I think that
to
was
each their own.
Good legacy for ripping off shirts.
Yeah.
I will say, like, even young kids still mimic Hulk Hogan, and I think that.
I mean, you think I'm doing the crowd?
Exactly.
Ear thing.
I mean, he's like such a showman and did it for so long. And if you look at like high points of your childhood, he's probably
there's no doubt. I mean,
through there.
I can remember vividly watching him wrestle, and watching him take on King Kong Bundy, Big John Studd,
Right, and I think it was. I mean, it
but
was.
But everybody remembers him body slamming Andre the Giant. Man, if you're a certain age, I mean, do I think Andre the Giant weighed 700 pounds? No, I don't.
No.
I think Andre the Giant probably weighed 450, 500 pounds, and Andre the Giant obviously helped him lift him up.
Okay.
But still, he did ultimately was.
Holding him above his
up
head.
at this point in time, he is only. Andre may have helped him get up because he kind of pushed off the mat.
Yeah.
But eventually, you're holding.
Like you're responsible for that weight transfer at some point.
Yes, and so no, I mean it's but Hulk Hogan, 71, admitted to the anabolic steroids and stuff. I'm sure it didn't help for long term for life, but no,
I think
a classic. He is a classic part of Americana.
100%. Yeah. So, in memoriam to Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, and Hulk Hogan.
Terry Bollea.
Yeah.
Yeah, his real name.
Yeah. Terry Bollea. Yeah, Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, who are we?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't know him. He's Hulk Hogan. Yeah. So that's episode 13 in the book. That's all we got for you. We did nice. We tried to keep it light, airy, and fun.
Yeah, and so we might be back in the next week or two. We'll definitely, I think, get going full swing here in the spring, or in the fall. In the fall.
Yes.
But obviously, living in multiple places, which has been great. You and I get to see each other, which is great. Lydia and Tim got to come up. They're gonna have to build an outdoor shower.
Yes, I was
Shout
gonna
out
say,
to outdoor shower.
You're doing it up.
The outdoor shower is kind of elite.
Tim is going into the belly of the beast on Saturday. He's going to see the Phillies play New York Yankees. Yeah, he asked me if I wanted to go, and I couldn't. I was seething and said no.
You don't want to give Hal and Hank any of your money.
Not happening. Yeah. So and he asked me twice, and I think I was even more succinct the second time around, which is shocking. No, not really. But he's going with his dad. I was very emphatic. He's going with his dad and his sister, so it should be fun.
Yeah, and look, you talk about fun baseball. You get to see Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge take a lot of at-bats. It's going to be fun.
They'll have a great time. He's already researched like what kind of food he can eat there. So, it's all downhill from there.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Well, this is great. So if you want to listen to other
this
episodes.
is season 5, episode 13. That means there's been 12 previous episodes and there's been 4 previous seasons.
Yep.
Lydia, where can they find us?
iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Audible, and YouTube.
And I love Audible, by the way.
You do love Audible.
Love Audible. You can also find us on X, Twitter.
Yeah, at JackYDK.
Okay, you can find Lydia on Twitter.
At RTL Pod.
And you can find me at JMGGMPG.
And we're also on Facebook and Instagram for those kids who like that platform.
Because if it ain't an Insty, it didn't
happen. Also, I would just like to point out that if you're going to YouTube and you want to see our pretty faces, it ain't going to happen. Because we are a traditional podcast, and if you like our voices, that's all we ask.
This ain't no Joe Rogan show.
Oh,
okay.
Thank God for that. All right.
See you next time.
Sounds good.